You may have heard that Freemasonry is filled with mysterious symbols, like the compass, the square, and the pillars of Solomon's temple. But there is one symbol that every initiate sees before anything else. It is not on the walls. It is not hidden in a secret book. It is placed directly beneath their feet. This is the black and white checkered floor, known in Freemasonry as the Mosaic Pavement. At first glance, it looks simple, almost decorative. But for centuries, initiates, philosophers, and mystics have said that this floor represents something far deeper. They say it represents the very structure of reality itself. Inside a Masonic lodge, the checkered floor is one of the first things that captures your attention. Alternating squares of black and white extend across the center of the temple. To someone unfamiliar with esoteric symbolism, it may appear to be nothing more than a patterned design. But within the initiatic traditions of Freemasonry, every element of the temple is intentional, and the Mosaic Pavement is considered a symbolic map of the human experience. Albert Pike, one of the most influential Masonic philosophers of the 19th century, described the Mosaic Pavement as a representation of the dual nature of existence: light and darkness, joy and sorrow, knowledge and ignorance. According to Pike, life itself unfolds through these contrasts, and the initiate is meant to recognize that both aspects are part of the same universal order. But the symbolism of the checkered floor did not originate with Freemasonry. Its roots reach far deeper into the ancient world. Long before the first modern Masonic lodges were established in the 1700s, sacred geometric floors appeared in temples across Egypt, Greece, and Rome. Archaeologists have discovered ritual spaces where patterned stone floors were used in ceremonies designed to symbolize the cosmic order. Some scholars, including Manly P. Hall, suggested that these patterned floors represented the field of manifestation, which is the place where spiritual forces interact with the material world. In this sense, the alternating colors symbolize polarity, the same principle that appears throughout nearly every spiritual tradition on earth. In Taoism, this idea appears as yin and yang, the interplay of opposing forces that sustain the universe. In Hermetic philosophy, it is expressed through the principle of polarity. This means everything has two poles, two extremes that are actually part of the same continuum. In the Kabbalistic tradition, the tree of life contains pillars of mercy and severity, balancing divine energies that shape existence. When you begin to see these connections, something remarkable becomes clear. The Masonic checkered floor is not just a Masonic symbol. It is a visual expression of what philosophers call the perennial philosophy, which is the idea that all spiritual traditions reflect the same underlying truths about the structure of reality. Within the lodge, the initiate symbolically walks upon this Mosaic pavement during ritual. And that detail is not accidental. The act of walking across the checkered floor represents something profound, the journey of human life itself. Every person moves through moments of light and darkness, success and failure, certainty and confusion. The Mosaic Pavement reminds the initiate that wisdom is not found by denying one side of existence, but by learning how to navigate both. Manly P. Hall once explained that the floor represents the ground of human experience, serving as the stage upon which the drama of consciousness unfolds. The black squares do not represent evil, and the white squares do not represent perfection. Instead, they reveal a deeper truth, that reality is built from contrast. And in my opinion, this is where the symbol becomes incredibly powerful. Because once you understand it, you start seeing the pattern everywhere in life. Every challenge carries the seed of growth. Every period of darkness can become a moment of awakening. When I first understood this idea, it completely changed the way I looked at difficulties. Instead of seeing obstacles as something purely negative, they started to feel like part of a much larger process. Interestingly, modern psychology echoes a similar idea. Carl Jung spoke about the importance of integrating the shadow, the hidden aspects of the human psyche. According to Jung, true psychological maturity happens when we acknowledge both the light and dark aspects of ourselves. In a way, the Mosaic Pavement can be seen as a symbolic map of this inner landscape. And this raises an interesting question. Before watching this video, had you ever noticed the checkered floor in Masonic imagery? If you had, did you think it had a deeper meaning like this? Let me know in the comments because many people overlook this symbol completely. For initiates in esoteric traditions, the lesson of the Mosaic Pavement goes even further. It teaches that life is not about choosing one color over the other. It is about learning how to move consciously between them. Think about a chessboard for a moment. Every move in a chess game takes place on alternating squares of black and white. Strategy, awareness, and foresight determine the outcome. In many ways, the Mosaic Pavement reflects this same idea. Life itself is a field of choices, and every decision we make shapes our path across the board. Some Masonic writers even describe the lodge as a symbolic universe, and the pavement as the foundation upon which the work of self-transformation takes place. The initiate stands upon it as a reminder that spiritual growth does not happen in isolation from the world. It happens within the tensions, challenges, and contrasts of everyday life. Personally, I think this is one of the most beautiful ideas hidden within the symbol. The goal is not to escape the complexity of existence, but to become conscious within it. To recognize that both light and shadow are part of the same cosmic design. And once you see it that way, the symbol of the checkered floor becomes something almost poetic. Every square represents a moment of experience. Every step represents a choice. So the next time you see the black and white pavement in a Masonic temple, remember that it was never meant to be just decoration. For centuries, initiates have understood it as a quiet reminder that the world itself is built on balance, and that wisdom comes from learning how to walk through that balance with awareness. And now I am curious about something. After hearing this explanation, what do you think the black and white squares represent in your own life? The contrast between challenges and opportunities? Light and shadow within yourself? Share your thoughts in the comments, because these symbols become even more meaningful when we reflect on them together. In the end, the greatest secret of the Mosaic Pavement might be the simplest one. The path of wisdom is not about standing only in the light, but about learning how to walk step by step across the entire floor of existence.